Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Operation Intel. My name is Tim. This is my third stream. Hopefully, I'm catching some traction there on Kick and also catching some traction on YouTube. My views have went up just a tad bit, just a little bit. But I enjoy doing this, and that's all that matters. It's just trying to keep everybody updated on what exactly is going on in the world right now, and I absolutely love doing this. So let's jump into something that we went into last night, the story about Travis Decker, the manhunt for him. Where do you start with something like that? You know, probably one of the most heartbreaking and disturbing stories so far this year is the Travis Decker manhunt. Some articles came out today, and I'm just going to kind of go over those with you guys. Decker is accused of brutally murdering his three daughters, Peyton 9, Evelyn 8, and Olivia 5. These were three innocent young girls who were supposed to be safe during a court-approved visitation. We're going to get back to that here in a second as far as the court-approved visitation goes, because that to me is incredible. How that even happens. How that even happens. So they were with their dad. And instead of having a good time with their dad, their lives were stolen in one of the most horrific acts that has pretty much shocked everybody around the nation. They were found in a remote wooded area, zip-tied, and asphyxiated with plastic bags, and they were left near the campground. They were also found near the father's truck. Their father, Travis Decker, is now on the run. Law enforcement says he could be anywhere in the country, but more than likely he's still in that remote area there in Washington where the girls were found, the campground. He is considered extremely dangerous, and something that we went over last night was that he is an Army veteran, and more information has came out about that. He does have a military background. He served in Afghanistan. He's trained in survival and was reportedly living off-grid before the killings. This is a man that knows how to disappear. He went to Ranger school, reportedly, so he knows what he's doing in his surroundings. You know, we're going to get into my opinion on this here in a second after I give you guys some of these headlines. The FBI, DHS, and U.S. Marshals and local authorities are in a full-blown manhunt right now. There's a $20,000 reward for any information leading to his arrest. Here in a second, I'm going to show you a picture of Travis Decker. His vehicle was found abandoned. Again, some of these details are kind of bad. Bloody handprints were visible. They're saying that this wasn't just a snap decision. It appears that this was planned. As far as his mental health condition goes, he had past homelessness. Apparently, he was living out of his truck. Okay. That tells you everything you need to know as far as court-approved visitation. This kind of stuff is hard for me to talk about just because I am a father and we went through this last night. just don't understand. I do not get it. And I could talk about it all day, every day. I do not understand how somebody who does not have a stable home for their children gets court-approved a visitation. And you can be on either side of the fence. I do not care. I will stick to my guns all day, every day when it comes to this kind of stuff. You need to have a stable environment for your children. Your children do not deserve to experience, living in those conditions. Out of a truck? Come on. It's unbelievable to me. Absolutely unbelievable and unacceptable. I think his military experience, it complicates the situation as well. They're saying that he was deployed to Afghanistan. As many of you know, I was deployed to Iraq in 2006. Stayed, 15 months. That would not drive me to do what Travis Decker did. Multiple reports have also said that he had multiple personality disorder. How do you get court-approved visitation with your kids with it not being supervised? You want to do supervised visitations, meet someplace, that's great. Do it. Let their father be a part of their lives, but let their father get his life together before something like this happens. If they knew all this stuff about Travis Decker, why did the court approve this? Why didn't they put an end to his visitations? I have no idea. It's incredible to me. Some parents fight and still don't get visitations with their kids for doing a whole hell of a lot less. Now you have 3 kids, innocent kids, who have lost their lives because of something like this. It's negligence. To me, it's negligence. The girl's mother reported him missing when he didn't return them after a visit. That was on May 30th. Their bodies were found June 2nd. Today is June 4th. He's still out there. And we went through that last night, but we've also went through it today with the emergence of more information on Travis Decker. He knows how to live off the grid. He's used to it. He knows what he's doing when it comes to living off the grid. So he has more experience than you and even myself combined. Again, you're talking about somebody that's a trained ranger. Okay, I've been around these guys. I know some of their training that they have to do to get that tab. They train and stuff like this. They train in swamps. They train in conditions that you and I would never go in. He knows what he's doing. So even the law enforcement officers that are searching for Travis Decker right now are at a disadvantage. They do not know what Travis Decker knows. And more than likely, he knows that area. Police are calling for him to turn himself in, directly appealing to him, saying, Travis, you need to surrender. The world is watching. I hate to tell you, Travis is not watching. Travis is not watching this. Travis is not watching what you're doing. He may hear the helicopters up above him. He is not watching your pleas to turn himself in. Those little girls should have been protected. Yeah, and that's the end of the story. That, he should have not had visitation rights. Now, how long all this went on, who knows? Who knows how long Travis Decker has been homeless or living off grid? We don't know. I don't know. No clue. But if we can find this information out in the last, 48 hours, why wasn't that given to the courts? So this is a nationwide alert. My channel is very small. Heck, I don't even have a subscriber yet. Well, on YouTube I do. I have 3. I don't have any followers on Kick, and I'm okay with that as well. I enjoy doing this. But even a channel like mine, hopefully I can reach, somebody out there. If you are going through a situation where you're dealing with somebody with mental issues like this, and you have kids and you have children with this person, and they're homeless, first of all, they need help. They need help. And more so than help, the kids need somebody to stick up for them. That's what needs to happen. And this is just a tragedy. These girls need justice. They do. The one person that was supposed to protect them did not protect them. They needed protection from the person that was supposed to protect them. I will be covering this until Travis Decker is found. Whether or not that does any good or makes a difference, I have no clue. Probably not. But I don't care. Those little girls need somebody sticking up for them and somebody talking on their behalf. And if it takes somebody like me to, talk out on this, I'll do it. I mean, I'm all for fathers' rights and fathers being there for their kids and fathers being able, parents in general. But when you have a situation like this, these girls didn't deserve what they got. And now we have a major tragedy. So, again, my thoughts and prayers are with the mother and the family of these 3 girls. Because, again, I'm a father of 4. And my kids are my world, and I don't understand how something like this happens. No clue whatsoever. So I'm going to be sharing a picture and an article from the New York Post about Travis Decker right now. We'll kind of go through this. Let's see here. This is a picture of Travis Decker. It says here on the New York Post, Decker appears in multiple social media posts from armed forces members. He is believed to have been a paratrooper who earned the Elite Ranger tab, meaning he has wilderness evasion and survival skills. Multiple Facebook and Instagram posts seen by Fox 13 show this. Decker also qualified as an instructor at the U.S. National Guard Warrior Training Center at Fort Benning, Georgia. So again, he was not only trained, but he was the one training. This is a picture of him. He was a member of the Washington National Guard since 2021 after transferring from the active component. But he had been awaiting disciplinary discharge for not showing up to his monthly drills, Fox 13 reported. The last drill he attended was around a year ago, according to reports. Should have been your first clue as to his mental stability, but who cares, right? Yeah, and I'm sorry, it really pisses me off about this kind of stuff. And I know it's not very professional of me to be saying the stuff that I'm saying, but I really don't give a damn. Somebody dropped the ball on this, and now you have three little girls who paid the consequences for somebody else's inaction. Decker's wife Whitney filed for divorce from her husband last year, claiming mental instability as a reason in court paperwork shows. He was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder toward the end of the marriage, and Whitney didn't believe he was taking any medications. So what you're telling me right now is this. And again, this is a picture of Travis Decker. Then I'm going to kind of go off on a tangent here again. How the hell do you let something like this happen? How do you let this happen? And mind you, they have only been divorced for, last year, right? And she had mentioned his mental state. He wasn't completing court-ordered stuff. But he didn't even have to be monitored while he watched his own children. It blows my mind. It truly does. It blows my mind that somebody like this, who has the mental stability of Travis Decker, gets visitation with his kids, and he wasn't even. He was living out of his truck, for God's sakes. It blows my mind. So again, authorities are looking for Travis Decker. They're saying he could be anywhere. My thought is he's not anywhere. He's where he's most comfortable, and that's surviving in the wilderness. And that's where he's at. That is where Travis Decker is. I can almost guarantee you nobody's going to pick Travis Decker up and take him to wherever he wants to go. Unless he couldn't have traveled too far. And they have helicopters up near that campsite as we speak right now. And that can be confirmed by flight radar. They know he's in that wilderness somewhere. Where that is, who the hell knows? But somebody needs to answer for this and answer for their actions. Somebody needs to look into why Travis Decker was given visitation rights to his kids when he wasn't even mentally stable and did not have a home for those kids. That's just what it is. And hopefully somebody can get some answers on that. I just hope that that's the case, and I hope somebody gets some answers. We're going to move on from this story because, in all honesty, I'm getting kind of upset about that just because I do not understand how something like that happens. As more stuff emerges from that, you wonder how something like that could even happen, right? So let's move on. Again, I'm going to go over 3 headlines. One of which we're going to go over right now, is more of a under the radar global alert. something that media is not focusing on, and hell, you may not even have heard of it yet. Because the media right now is so focused on P. Diddy and everything else, all this celebrity scandals or election drama or anything like that. There's something much darker happening overseas right now, and it's not getting enough attention at all. It's just not. And I don't understand why. I have no clue why this isn't getting enough attention either. Afghanistan now is fully under Taliban control. And it's becoming a new hotbed for terrorists. Which, when we pulled out of Afghanistan, the way we pulled out of Afghanistan, and as quickly as we did it, as a veteran, I seen it coming, because I seen it coming when it happened in Iraq. That's what most people don't understand. A lot of people ask, why were we in Iraq for so long? The reason why we were in Iraq for so long, and this is coming from somebody who had one day off a week and was out on missions every single day, 10 to 12 hours. And that's not me tooting my own horn or saying, I know everything, because I don't. But the reason why we were still in Iraq is because Iraq could not defend itself, and terrorists were coming into Iraq from all over the Middle East. I think on my first episode, I went into how an Iraqi man changed my life. And I'll tell you a story about something that same Iraqi man told me. Now, about 6 months into the deployment, I asked him, I said, did you like it more when the United States or Saddam Hussein was in charge, or do you like it more now? And he said, I liked it more when Saddam was in charge. It shocked me. And I asked him why. And he said, I didn't have to worry about terrorists coming into my home, kidnapping my wife, and doing other things. That is the same man who was an interpreter for us that ended up getting killed, kidnapped and killed. So, anyways, I could go on a tangent of that all day long, but that's what's happening right now in Afghanistan, and that's the ramifications and the consequences of leaving Afghanistan the way that we did. Yes, I understand there's been fighting over there for years. I get it. But when you tear down borders and you're there for 20 years, what do you expect? Did you expect Al-Qaeda not to rebuild? Is that what you expected? Because that's not going to happen. It's just not. U.S. intelligence has labeled ISIS as the most capable terror faction currently plotting attacks outside the Middle East. This isn't theoretical. These groups have already carried out attacks in Iran, Russia, and are believed to be planning future strikes in the West. I seen a report today from somebody that was on the Sean Ryan show, which I absolutely love Sean Ryan. I think Sean Ryan's show is amazing, and I think it's great, and it shows things that most people do not get to hear or see. Shows a different side of everything. A lady that was on the Sean Ryan show has kind of been doing more and more interviews, things like that. And I'm not exactly sure what agency she was with, or I'm not sure. But she's pretty high up. She's in the intelligence community, or was very high up in the intelligence community. And it has been said that suicide vests have, came over to the United States. These suicide vests cannot be detected by metal detectors. And the way that they know this is because Al-Qaeda has put out a video of this and bragged about it. And they have information saying those suicide vests are already over here. But you don't hear that on mainstream media. So I believe that it's not a matter of if, it's when, and you need to be ready for it. And that's not me fear mongering. It's not me, sitting here telling you that something terrible is going to happen tomorrow to keep everybody inside. That's not what I'm doing. But you do need to keep your eyes open, your head on a swivel, because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. This world we live in is absolutely crazy. Meanwhile, Al-Qaeda, yes, the same group that's behind 9/11, is reestablishing training camps in at least 12 provinces across Afghanistan. According to the UN and multiple intelligence agencies, these groups are not only regrouping, they're actually expanding. Think about that. Think about that for a second. They are actually expanding in Afghanistan. I got to be careful, what I say and how I say it on here. And because a lot of people take everything that is said and they turn it into politics. I think of things a lot differently. I think of things as situations. The way we left Afghanistan was not only embarrassing, but it was embarrassing. And it was a slap in the face to every single man and woman who has ever served over there. And to see that Al-Qaeda is now in 12 different provinces, and they're not only rebuilding, but they're expanding, slap in the face. All that hard work that our men and women in uniform have done, the blood that they have shed, and the families that they have left behind. Now to see this. You kind of wonder what the Taliban's doing about it. To me, they're either looking the other way or they're enabling it, right? I know in 2020 they had an agreement where the Taliban said that they wouldn't harbor terrorists. That agreement now is dead. They know Al-Qaeda is in these 12 provinces. Are they helping Al-Qaeda? Who knows? It looks like it. DHS just briefed U.S. lawmakers this week, warning that terror chatter is growing, that attacks on Western soil are not just possible, they're expected. And that's what I kind of went through just a little while ago. It's going to get to a point where, it's happening. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. I hate to put it to everybody like that, and I hate to speak it into existence per se, but when you have people who don't pay attention, you have people or agencies that do not talk to each other. This is the kind of shit that happens. It's embarrassing. We're seeing some the same early patterns we saw in 2000 and 2001: training camps, safe havens, and ideological motivation. If you weren't around for 9/11, or you don't remember what it was like, or you were very young for 9/11, it was awful. I mean, I remember where I was on 9/11, exactly where I was the first time I heard about what was going on. I was, I believe, a sophomore in high school. I think I went through this last night. I was a sophomore in high school. And I just had heard that the Pentagon was on fire. I was working in the office and the principal's office, because I was a good kid, right? But one of the secretaries said that I needed to go to the library and I needed to watch what was going on. I went over there, and less than 3 years later, I was in Iraq. So, I don't know. This story could erupt into something massive: a terror attack, a U.S. counterstrike, a new regional war. We just don't know. Every day we're going to be following this, where I'm going to be kind of deep diving into this kind of stuff. Maybe if I can, I know, again, my channel is kind of small. If I could get somebody on to kind of, talk about some stuff that they see going on. I know some people, but I would love to cover this every day. If it gets more eyes on this, I think it would be a great thing. We over here in America live day to day, and we are very, very privileged. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the United States where people are like, well, I'm going to move out of the United States. I promise you we have it great over here. And this is coming from somebody who has seen multiple countries, not just Iraq. We have it very easy over here. So this is something every day we will be following, because I think that more people need to get their eyes out on this. I know there's multiple news sources that are reporting on this, but no mainstream stuff is reporting on this. So if you guys have any comments on that, questions, anything you can share, even if you are somebody that has, information, or they want to share stories, please get a hold of me. I am not one of these people who think I know everything, because I don't. I do have strong opinions. But I am not one of those people who, only believe in one thing and my way is the right way. I'm very open-minded. I really want to hear from you guys. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, please, please, please comment on some of these videos. Interact with me. I'd love to hear from you. Moving on. This is a story we've been following for the last 3 nights. Global war update in Ukraine and Russia. We're going to kind of shift to the front lines here. Give me a second. My bad habit, I do vape. So, like I said, we're going to shift onto the front lines in Ukraine, which just took, we've kind of went over this. It took a serious turn the other night. Well, for the last couple nights, to be honest, Ukraine shocked everybody. They really, really punched Russia in the mouth. And here in a second, I'm going to show you an article that I seen coming. If you have been following this channel, which I don't know if you have, but for the last 2 nights, I have said Russia has to respond to this. Russia is not coming to the table. They're not backing down. They have big weapons, and more than likely, they're going to use them. But Russian forces have launched one of their fastest and deepest pushes in months, moving into a different region in northern Ukraine. Reports say Russian troops have taken over 150 square kilometers in just a few days, bringing them within 25 to 30 kilometers of the city of Sumy. I might be saying that wrong, but I think it's Sumy. This new push is forcing Ukraine to stretch its defenses thin, fighting in the north while still holding the line in the Donbass region and southern fronts. So, the last 2 attacks that Ukraine has done has forced Russia. This could have been something that was already planned. We don't know, but Ukraine does not have the resources to withstand this. They don't. They are very intelligent. Don't get me wrong, they are very intelligent. And the way that they have attacked Russia and punched them in the mouth is something incredible. The way they pulled this off, the way they planned it, is absolutely incredible. Again, Ukraine isn't just sitting back. They've hit hard. They've struck deep into Russia. 2,500 miles, I want to say. I could be wrong on that. Hitting strategic bombers. New satellite imagery has came out from the attacks, showing the damage that they did. They also attacked a bridge in Crimea, I believe either yesterday or the day before. So they are hitting back. But now the question is what's Russia going to do about it? Does this anger them? Does it embarrass them? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it's going to do. And like I said, here in a second, I'm going to show you, and it kind of shows what is going through the mind of President Putin. I'm going to read you an article. In the middle of all this chaos where Russia has moved to the north and, Ukraine has to defend multiple fronts, President Zelensky has proposed a temporary ceasefire aiming to open up new peace negotiations. He wants the U.S., Turkey, and Russia at the table. The idea is to halt bloodshed and possibly broker a path to real talks. So to me, looking at this, if I'm looking at this from President Putin's standpoint, and I have to put it into logical thoughts, I think it's almost like, and I keep saying punching a bully in the mouth because that's exactly what they have done. They punched Russia in the mouth. So they punched them in the mouth, turned around, and ran away, which is almost what they have to do. They don't have the resources Russia has. They do have some NATO backing, which is kind of scary to think of. But Putin isn't on board with this. His response, he said, Ukraine's just trying to stall and resupply. That's a hard no from the Kremlin. They're not coming to the negotiating table anymore. And if you're President Trump, what's your next steps? What is your next steps to broker peace over there? Because you've tried. You're doing everything you can, and what's going on over there is, well, they're still firing at each other. They're absolutely still firing at each other, and I do not look for Russia to sit back. I think a big attack is on its way. I guess there's one piece of hope. There's talk of a major prisoner exchange happening this weekend. 500 Ukrainian soldiers may be coming home. Keyword there is they may be coming home. Still, the paradox is clear. Peace talks are in the air, but violence on the ground is escalating. And if you are Ukraine, this should scare you. And it does. It absolutely does. Because they understand that whether they like it or not, whether, they, in my opinion, they did the right thing. They punched Russia back in the mouth. But now you gotta wonder what Russia's response to that's gonna be. And I don't think it's this move to the north. I don't. I think there's something bigger coming. And I think you're gonna see something in the next, few days. I look for something to happen within the next few days. What that is, who knows? This is more than a European war. This affects NATO, global energy markets, U.S. policy, and international security. If Russia were to, launch a big-scale operation, a big-scale, even a tactical nuclear weapon, right? Because let's be honest, and I've said this for the last couple nights, Russia has the largest arsenal of nuclear weapons. And again, I do not care that their stuff is outdated. A nuclear weapon is a nuclear weapon, and they have, I believe, the biggest nuclear weapon out there. Do they launch that? I highly doubt they do that, but a tactical nuclear weapon, I guarantee you, is on the board. They're losing too many people. They're losing too many soldiers. And they're running, to me, they're probably running out of ammunitions. And with something like what has happened here in the last few days, I look for Russia to do something big. I hope it is not a nuclear weapon, like I've been saying, but who knows? What happens in Ukraine really does not stay just in Ukraine. That's why this story matters. That's why you see me following it every single night. That's why I continue to stay on the most relevant topics. Yeah, I don't follow every single topic there is. I kind of stay within this parameter. It's because I love going over this stuff. I love talking about it, but it matters. The stuff I'm going over absolutely affects everybody. And if you don't think it does, I don't know what world you're living in. I feel sorry for the people of Ukraine. I feel sorry for the people of Russia. Because a lot of them just want peace. They want peace. And you have a generation where I think could be completely wrong on this, but I think I seen a report that over 1 million soldiers as we were just talking, breaking news, and I'm getting this from the Associated Press. President Trump is resurrecting the travel ban policy from his first term, signing a proclamation Wednesday night preventing people from a dozen countries from entering the United States. The countries include Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of Congo, Guinea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. He is quoted as saying, "I must act to protect the national security and national interests of the United States and its people." It's exactly what we were going over before this Ukraine and Russia story, right? It's kind of weird to me that we were just going over this and most media outlets are not touching this right now. You are not hearing about the resurgence of Al-Qaeda in these countries. You're not hearing that Al-Qaeda is expanding in Afghanistan. This isn't being covered. And I'm going to share a report with you guys right now. Give me 1 second here. There we go. Countering a resurgence terrorist threat in Afghanistan. I mean, when you withdraw from Afghanistan, the way you withdrew from Afghanistan, it's just asking for trouble. And that's what us veterans were trying to say to everybody. It's not the fact that we left Afghanistan. Everybody wanted to see that war ending. But it's the way that we left. It was not only embarrassing, but it gave the terrorists hope. It gave them a sense that they had won that war. It's incredible. So it's just weird to me that we had went over, we'd been going over this for the last, well, tonight was the first night that I had been following this story. And now, breaking news, President Trump has put into effect the travel ban from countries like Afghanistan. Afghanistan does have a travel ban. And I believe that starts on Monday night. And you are going to hear from, I guarantee you're going to hear from most media outlets that this is a bad move and it's, the same thing that happened last time. But what they're not telling you is this travel ban probably has something to do with the intelligence that they're getting. The intelligence is saying that Al-Qaeda has, and ISIS, they're already over here. But they're planning attacks as we talk. And that's not just being reported by, some little people. This is being reported by people who actually have inside information, actually know what they're talking about. Check out the Sean Ryan show. I encourage everybody to check out that Sean Ryan show. I forget what her name was. I will look it up here in a second. But you really need to watch some of this stuff. Stop listening to CNN and Fox and all these different stations because they're not reporting on this stuff. this kind of hits home too. So every story that I have touched tonight has, you know, some sort of, it means a lot to me. That's the reason why I go over this kind of stuff. But again, you know, the three big stories tonight were Travis Decker, who reportedly has killed his three daughters. And there's a manhunt going on for him right now in Washington State. I'm not sure, Cole. Sarah Adams does sound familiar. Let me see here. I'll look that up. Yeah. You are completely correct, Cole. It is Sarah Adams. I encourage everybody to listen to what Sarah Adams has to say. This is why President Trump, and I can guarantee you this is why he put this national travel ban. Everybody needs to listen to this lady because she knows what she's talking about. For Sean Ryan to have this lady on her show, it says something. She knows what she's talking about. Thanks, Cole, for kind of pointing me in the right direction. I forgot her name. I seen another TikTok today with her in it. And where she's doing another podcast and she's telling people, she's trying to warn people. And if you remember when 9/11 happened, the one thing that was reported was the CIA and the FBI did not talk to each other. They knew it was coming. We know that Al-Qaeda is expanding. There's multiple reports of it. We know ISIS is growing in Afghanistan. We know, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I could care less whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. I do not care. But when you have an open border for 4 years, and that southern border was wide open, these people are not stupid. They're not dumb. They know we have an open border or had an open border. Sarah Adams said that they had information saying that those suicide vests that we talked about earlier had came in from our southern border. She also said that TSA had been very lax on the situation. So guess what? We don't know where this is going to come out at, right? We have no clue. I guess she said in Washington, D.C., that's a main point of interest right now. Not only a main point of interest, but our aerial stuff, like our airplanes and things like that. So same thing that they did at 9/11. And again, these suicide vests cannot be detected by our current technology at the airports. How do we know that? Taliban leaked it. They were showing it off in videos. Multiple videos online showed that the Taliban I think it was a few months ago, had been bragging about this new suicide vest. And now, just a few minutes ago, we're probably, I can almost guarantee you I'm the first station that reported on this. President Trump has reenacted the travel ban. Is it a coincidence that it happened because of this stuff? No. They have more information than what we know. But there are people out there that are warning us. Is it Fox? Is it CNN? No, it isn't. They're not warning on anything like this. You might see a little segment, but they're not warning on it. But again, I'll kind of back off of that. We'll go over, I'm going to go over more of it tomorrow night. I do have my kids tomorrow night, so I might be on just a little bit earlier. Do me a favor, give me a subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Kick. If you want to keep up to date with this kind of stuff, which I think is very interesting, send me some messages, comment on the videos. Tell me what you guys would like me to go over. I would love to give you my opinion on certain things. There are certain things I have no clue about. I'll be honest with you. Tonight, we went over, like I said, before we got that breaking news, I was going over kind of what we went through tonight. Tonight, we went through Travis Decker, a man who has a military background, who I had said last night, who more than likely had special forces training. Came out today that he did. Yeah, Cole. So Travis Decker, there were more reports coming out on what had happened. There were some pretty bad details going into what he did. That is the guy who killed his 3 daughters up in Washington State. And how the hell somebody like that gets visitation rights to their kids is beyond me. His wife left him because he had some mental issues she had been noticing. The guy was living out of his truck, still had visitation rights to his little girls. It's absolutely incredible. But what we went over last night, I said, I do believe somebody like that had extensive training, whether or not that be special forces. It came out that he was a ranger. But not only was he a ranger, he was actually an instructor down in Fort Benning, Georgia. So not only does he know what he's doing out in the wilderness, he was teaching other people, other soldiers, what to do out in the wilderness. I hope they find him. I will keep my personal thoughts to myself on, how I want them to find him. But I do believe, Travis Decker should have never been allowed around those kids. With his mental stability, him living out of a truck, somebody needs to answer for why Travis Decker had any sort of visitation with his kids. Shouldn't have been allowed. So hopefully, whoever the judge was that decided it was a good idea to give this father, and you have good fathers out there that can't even get visitations, gets to see their kids once, twice a month. Yeah, you have somebody like this who lives out of a truck, has mental issues, and now you have his daughters who did not deserve to die. What happened to them is absolutely horrible. Whoever gave him visitation rights and did not, even if they gave him visitation rights, but did not pull his visitation rights when they knew that he was living out of his truck. They need to answer for it. I would love to hear their reasoning as to why he deserved it. Because I know many of men out here that do not get to see their kids. And women too. I'm not just saying men. But yet Travis Decker gets his kids anytime he wants them for visitation, and he doesn't even have a stable place for his kids to stay. He's mentally just not there, obviously. He wasn't even doing what the court had ordered him to do. How do you keep visitation with your kids when you're not even following court orders? Blows my mind. The other story we went over tonight was the resurgence of Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, which, just a few minutes ago, President Trump decided to reenact the travel ban from countries like Afghanistan, and I will read it from the Associated Press, the countries that are going to be affected by this travel ban. And I'm sure you'll hear mainstream media saying that, something bad about this, but they're also the ones not reporting on why. And the resurgence of ISIS and ISIS and Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. I'll read this article and then we'll move on to Russia and Ukraine. President Donald Trump is resurrecting the travel ban policy from his first term, signing a proclamation Wednesday night preventing people from a dozen countries from entering the United States. The countries include Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of Congo, Guinea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. In addition to the ban, which it takes effect at 12:01 a.m. Monday, there will be a heightened restrictions on visitors from Cuba. There's some countries, and Venezuela, some other countries that I have no clue how to pronounce. He's reported as saying, I must act to protect the national security and national interests of the United States and its people. And from the looks of it, that's exactly what's happening. Again, I encourage everybody to go listen to Sean Ryan's interview with Sarah Adams. And come back here and tell me that he's not right in doing this. I'm not telling you I agree with everything President Trump does, because I'm absolutely not telling you that. But sometimes you have to understand why somebody is doing something, and I encourage you to listen to Sarah Adams. Listen to what she's saying and what she's warning about. Listen to her credentials. And ask yourself why CNN, Fox, ABC, all these major news companies are not reporting on this. And then they wonder why their ratings are going down. They wonder why people are reporting, like myself, reporting on news on YouTube and places like Kick. I picked Kick out because I wanted the younger generation to kind of listen to this stuff. Because they're our next generation. They need to know about world news. And sometimes the world's crazy, right? And there's other things that they could be watching. Like, I'm sure Kai right now probably has, something like 50 or 100,000 people watching him. Who knows? But I wish more people would listen to world news, especially on Kick, because that's our younger generation. And again, you need to be listening to Sean Ryan, his interview with Sarah Adams. The other big story is what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. We've went over this the last 3 nights now. They have to respond. And if you remember, I think Cole, last night you were in here. I don't know if you're still in here, Cole, but last night you had asked me, do I think Do I think Russia overreacts, or do I think that they have a big response to what happened? I don't know if I froze. There we go. We're back. I think. Give me 1 second here to fix this. We're going to stop sharing this screen. Maybe that's the reason why. Apparently, my computer isn't wanting to work, but this is from Reuters, which is an independent news source. Putin tells Trump Russia has to respond to the Ukrainian attacks. There's your answer. They're going to do something, and I believe that something big's coming.